know how I had not come across this girl's channel before, but damn, she's putting in some work. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. I was watching Grizzly True Crimes live earlier today, and she kept mentioning a channel called Truth and Transparency. Now, I went over and took a look, and I'm going to have a link to her channel in my description box because she found body cam footage from an incident back on September the 1st at the King Street house. But the crazy thing is that it's not in the police records under that address. It's actually in there, from what I'm understanding, under 1122 Queen, and you hear the police officers in the video mention that address. So she literally went and dug and did all kinds of out-of-the-box things to be able to find and access this body cam footage. Now, like I said, I'm going to have the link in the description, and I really, really want you guys to go over there and watch these videos and see all this stuff for yourself. But what I'm going to do, since I've already watched them, is I'm going to commentate on some of the things that I saw. And apparently there's going to be a third part being released. But there's some very interesting things in here. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first thing that is noticed here is there is a white car that looks very much like a Hyundai Elantra. It's not. It's not a Hyundai Elantra. I don't know the girl's name who runs this channel, so I'm just going to call her Truth when I speak about her in this video. Truth states that it's actually a Chevy, and she was able to get the plate off of the video. There are people in the comments stating that they saw it too. I wasn't looking for it. Truth makes a good point here about how, what if it's like not a Hyundai Elantra that people are actually looking for? Because for them to have noticed a vehicle on any sort of ring footage or security footage or any camera, this happened in the dark time hours, right? So if they are unable to even get a plate off of what they've seen of this vehicle, how do we know for sure that they're so positive on the make and model of the car? Because the one in the video is very similarly shaped to a Hyundai Elantra. And in a dark video, that car could literally be anything of that sort of shape. And we know how car makers do. I have a Honda Fit, but I was going to get a Toyota Yaris. They look exactly the same except for the inside of the vehicle. The Yaris is extremely compact, and the Fit is pretty spaceshipy. It's very wide open. But if you were just watching those two vehicles driving by each other of the same color and just driving by you, you would pretty much think that they were the exact same vehicles. So Truth has a good point. What if it's not a Hyundai Elantra? And if this is a vehicle, a similar type vehicle, that's in this body cam footage from an incident at the home on September the 1st, and we're going to find out here in a minute that according to what they state, the owners or the people that live in the house are not home during this incident, but that turns out to not quite be completely true. But the car is here. That means whoever is in this home at this time possibly, very possibly, could be the owner of said vehicle. So now I mentioned how they're stating that the people that live in the home are not there at the time of the police showing up. But from what's being seen in these videos, that's actually not true. I'm going to show the photo of the girl who answered the door and states that she's going to go and get the people that live in the home. People in the chat on Truth's video and Truth herself states that this is Bethany, one of the surviving roommates, claiming that she's going to go get the people that live in the house. And then later on in the video, we see the police officers actually speaking to Maddie Mogan on the phone. One of the males at the party calls her, and it says Maddie Mogan on the caller ID. And he hands his phone over to the police officers. And the police officer is telling her, hey, you have a bunch of people in your house. They're all telling us that the occupants that live here are not here. So you just have a bunch of randos in your house. Showing Bethany's character. Yes, she would have just moved in like a few weeks before this incident, but home chick, you live there. And you just passed the buck on to somebody else. And then had someone call Maddie. You're both just living in that house. Why couldn't Bethany have just taken care of this? It kind of tells you a lot about her character. I know that she's like a young college student, but to just shut the door and then send some random guy out there and then have Maddie be called to deal with the cops when you're standing right there is a bit ridiculous in my opinion. Now, Truth plays this part of the body cam footage all the way through, and then she goes back and kind of pauses and gives her own commentary on it. So at first, I actually didn't even realize it was Bethany that answered the door, but a bunch of people in the chat agreed, yes, it was Bethany. So at first I was like, dang, this just kind of proves that these girls that lived in this house were not very safe. They just let a whole bunch of people in their house while they weren't even there whatsoever. And that literally could mean anyone around a certain age could pose as a college student and just walk into any one of these, Greek houses and pretend to be anybody, anyone. And even after, to be honest, even after knowing that Bethany indeed was there, and even seeing like people in the beginning walking out and the cops asking them, hey, who lives here? And they're like, I don't know. That my stance on that still remains. Literally anyone of college age looking age, which these days, it can be anyone. I mean, we got 60-year-olds going back to college these days. But pretty much anyone in that area could just walk into one of these frat or sorority houses on a party night and not even actually be a college student and like get the layout of the house and do brain work. You know what I mean? Now, one thing I do want to point out is the lock on the door. Now, we know that News Nation spoke to Xana's mom, and Xana's mom stated that Xana's father had been there at the house the weekend prior to the incident changing a lock, and that she was under the assumption that it was the main door lock that was changed. Now, as of right now, I'm not positive if that's actually been clarified. And I know I saw a video from Don B, who's another true crime YouTuber. He posted something, I believe, yesterday that he apparently contacted News Nation about this said lock being changed. And whoever he spoke to kind of like flipped out and was like, oh my God, how did you find that information out? Where did you hear that from? And he was like, y'all, like it was on News Nation. That Banfield blonde chick like talked to Xana's mom, and Xana's mom said this to her in an interview. So that was kind of weird. But this incident shows me the locks. And to me, I'm going to put these photos up here. To me, these locks do look very similar, but I did notice a difference. Now, this could just be me, but I want you guys to tell me in the comments if you see this the same way. This is a photo of the doorknob from the body cam footage that Truth put out. This is a photo of the front door's doorknob, supposedly the same doorknob, that is in all of the most recent mainstream media photos that have the crime scene tape and all that stuff that we know have been taken after the incident. Now look at these two photos together. To me, it looks as if the doorknob from the body cam footage on September the 1st, the handle, the flat part of the handle faces outward, like towards the parking area. Now on the pictures of the ones from the most recent, does it not look as if the flat part of the handle faces up towards the sky? If I'm right, and I'm seeing it this way, then this to me would be confirmation that the front door lock is the lock that Xana's father changed. Now, like I stated, there could be verification out there somewhere, but I personally have not found anything past that first interview where Xana's mom mentions it to News Nation. But something I think is important that a lot of people probably already knew, but something I still deem important enough to point out here. There's several police officers showing up at this house, right? We have someone open the door, claim to not live there, shut the door, not come back to the door for, minutes and minutes and minutes. Cops have to walk around, they're peeping in windows and all this stuff, basically threatening them. Hey, we're only here for a noise complaint. Open the door and talk to us or it's going to end up being something worse, blah, blah, blah. Because they know there's underage drinking happening. One of the officers even says, there's a lot of effing alcohol in here. Because a bunch of people took off and left all of their beer and alcohol just out in the front yard. And you can see cops dumping it out. it shows that even with all this underage drinking and these people lying straight to the cops' faces and making them wait to come to the door and all this other crap, that instead of getting trouble for breaking what's actually a criminal law of underage drinking, because they're related to the college and answer to these Greek boards, nothing happens except they get talked to and told, hey, keep the noise down. We're going to just overlook all these drunk minors walking around everywhere. I don't know, to a lot of people that might not matter, but to me, that's not teaching them to be responsible adults. It's teaching them that it's okay to do whatever you want to do, and as long as you have the right associations, you can get away with breaking the law. Now, I just checked Truth and Transparency's channel, and she does have a live set for tomorrow the 19th at 2 p.m., and I'm going to assume that's where she's going to release the third video pertaining to this body cam footage. I'm going to do my best to listen in while I'm working, because I do have a full-time work-from-home job during the day in the medical field. So I am going to try to listen to it. I will encourage everyone here to do the same. Now, I know that this is not the night of the incident, but considering there's a very real possibility the make and model of the vehicle that the police are looking for might not be exact, because the videos were all being seen, you know, in the darkness of 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, and that there's really not a lot to go on here. We really kind of need to pay attention to everything. And this definitely shows, in my opinion, the character of some of the roommates, how easily accessible the house was to pretty much anyone that looked like they belonged there. And it kind of gives us an insight as to how the police work in this community. That's kind of important. So I'll see you guys in her chat tomorrow. For now, that's it. See y'all.